Hi guys, welcome to another vlog. Oh, did you hear that? That didn't sound good. Okay. There was a noise in my street that sounded rather, I hope it was a car backfiring. Just to say that. Okay. Anyway, I've had a wonderful day. How about you? Isn't it rare that I have these days? Yes, I managed to make it to my local pancake day. Not the religious kind. We have Pancake Day at my local disability group up the road every Wednesday. And I managed to make it today, so I was very blessed. Felt very lucky to be able to do something normal feeling for me. Met some new people. I always meet new people when I go there because there is regulars, but there's always different people. So it was lovely to get out, and my support worker was with me today too, so it's kind of good timing. So she came along as well, which is wonderful. Well, she actually works with Humdrum, so shout out to Humdrum. You guys are just magnificent. And a shout out to Ella because I saw you today. That's kind of cool. So anyway, today's talk is about 22q. And I wanted to revisit this because since my diagnosis, a lot has gone down. A lot that can't talk about and a lot that I can. So I thought, let's talk about it. But first, you don't have to listen if you're not of a religion. Or I shouldn't say that because I'm not an organized religion person. Not at all. I don't go to church. I think that churches are full of the opposite people to who should be there. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's every church, of course, but a lot of them. It just is. Anyway, I do believe that there's a spiritual warfare going on in the world, and I just want to keep everybody safe. If this is just pretty much, if you're not into faith, then just see it as being, I care about you, and I just want to say something from my Bible. It's pink, of course, because I care so much. So let me read my favorite verse for disability, which is, like I said, I can never pronounce this chapter, but Deuteronomy, speech problems, chapter 31, and chapter 31:6. Be strong and of good courage. We must have courage when we're disabled. We go through a lot, and it requires a lot of courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He's always with us. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. So we are protected. The broken ones are extra protected. So you're extra protected if you're disabled. And anyone else who's feeling a bit broken. Okay? He likes the broken ones because we are the ones that are open to learning. Now, you could just believe in a higher power. It doesn't matter. You could be an atheist. It's all good. Okay? It's all good. So, basically, I wanted to revisit my 22q because basically I have had to, have the time to digest it, have the time to live with it, have the time. I've been living with it since I was born. Don't know why I'm saying that, but I didn't catch it, but I'm just saying, like, you need time to look at your life, look at how it's affected you, and that takes time. That takes introspection. I am losing vocab. Anyway, it takes a lot of inward work to look at what's going on for me. What is affecting me in that sense with my 22q? And sadly, at my age, it's not uncommon to experience things at my age that are of the severe kind. You sadly, I don't know if people are aware of um, the new medical journals on 22q, George, whatever you want to call it. But the stats are totally different, and so many doctors are ignorant and unaware, and it's actually quite scary. In Australia, please go to a specialist if you can for 22q. Don't go to just anyone, and demand that your hospital seeks specialty advice on your condition, because basically it is so many misconceptions and it can cause death. Especially to do with the heart. The heart, it was once thought to be only if you're born with congenital heart disease. However, it is not true. You can develop it later. It's not good. And it matches with the fact that, well, I know for me, I am a stereotypical post-child of 22q. In my 50s, just as I was about to turn 50. I'm talking March, and I turned 50 in May. I had a heart attack. And ever since that, I have 3 liters of fluid that doesn't seem to go. It's full body edema. I have to take medications. I'm at high risk of having another one within the next 5 years, heart attack or stroke. And to put it just like bluntly, you don't always survive a heart attack or stroke. So you never can take that risk. You just can't. Don't ever let a doctor make you feel like, well, it's all good, it's just a heart attack. It's just, no. That's what they think, because it's not actually happening to them. And we're living in a world where we don't have family doctors anymore. They don't give a shit about you. And I'm saying that not because I'm trying to stir shit. I'm telling you because it's the facts. And I don't want people to get very sick in any point in their life and not realize that when things get serious, that they don't care. Now, if you've got private cover, they'll probably care a bit more because you've got the money to pay for that care. But in the public system, it is a competition. You have to scream and fight and yell and carry on after they've done that to you to get medical care, because it costs them money. It's not the same system anymore. You used to be able to walk in, and if you had a problem, they'd do their best to fix it. It's no longer like that at all. So it's a very complex system. And when you have something rare, it's not like cancer. Cancer has funding. Cancer has research that is so much bigger than ours. Think about it. Rare syndromes. Rare. And really, we all should join together. Every rare syndrome should join together to raise money for each, and then divvy it between each rare syndrome. But the fact is, there's so little of us in each category. It's like, so be it. Yeah, you'll probably die in your 50s, but that's your problem. That's how it is. So naturally, it's been hard to get the best of care after my heart event. And so anyway, when I look back, and let's start from the beginning. So that's the most recent sort of stuff that's affecting me. And of course, my seizures, and that's a risk in itself. And that's all I thought I was dealing with at first, is with SUDEP, which is sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. That is 25% of us can just die in a seizure. So it's scary because every seizure, for me, I'm more out of it. I'm just trying to get through the seizure. I'm just trying to get through the yucky feelings, trying to feel comfortable. I feel off the planet. But sadly for the people around me, naturally it's scary. Because guess what? 25% of chance of not coming out of it. Ever. So, and I've been in status epilepticus before, which is when you don't come out of it for 3 days. And I had a lovely carer back then where we used to live a lot further away from Perth. And in between seizures, luckily she was a nurse, but she was a nurse from South Africa, so she wasn't able to be a nurse here. But I was blessed because I got to be with her. And she looked after me. She looked after me at my worst. And I don't know if you've seen the compilation video of me at my skinniest. I was not well. I was so sick with seizures, I could barely eat. I was throwing up. I couldn't keep food down. Gastroparesis was getting uncontrollable, unlike previous in my life. I was able to control it. I used to throw up as a kid, but I seemed to manage to do nibbles as an adult, and I didn't realize that I was naturally treating my gastroparesis by doing that. And so she was with me through that, and she was spoon feeding me during these seizures because they refused to give me my gastroparesis drinks, which are high calorie intake drinks, which are really tiny. They have a pack of nutrients and calories to get into you, right? I was severely underweight, sickly underweight, grossly underweight. So basically, this was just going on and on and on. And I know that it's hard to hear, but an average hospital, an average neurologist is not an epidemiologist, which is a person who actually knows about seizures. I actually had a doctor with my recent anaphylaxis who actually said, oh, I didn't write down any seizure activity while you were here because I had to sleep overnight because you didn't wet yourself. And I said, I actually laughed because I was half asleep, so all of my inhibitions were gone. I laughed and I said, and he was shaking because he was a young doctor, and the hospital's a bit nervous with me at the moment. So, you know, he's shaking and they send the junior, poor thing, but not poor thing because, you know, I would never do someone's dirty work personally, but he did. And I just said to him, that's just a myth. I said 39% do. And I have before, but I don't always. And actually most of the time I don't. So it's a myth that you have to wet yourself to be considered a seizure. So stupid. Anyway, it is a scary fact, but I just want to be honest about that because I just want people to know that if you end up in a traumatic situation with a diagnosis or anything, please do your own research. Get the right doctors because they don't know what the hell they're doing. It is kind of an art, not just a science. Sorry. I studied psychology. We did a first year med unit. I'm telling you right now, the science is not absolute, meaning you could get a test and they say, oh, it's totally negative. Yet there's still 40% chance that it could be positive because they can only be accurate to 60%. 40% of not knowing. That's a lot to me. That's significant to me in science, to me. So just please, and just by the way, That's why the Bible warned about science. And psychology is evil. Just want to let you know that. Oops. Turn my TV off. I just bumped the remote control. Is evil. Evil. And that's just my personal opinion. Human development studies, there's nothing wrong with that. So there's elements of it that are fine. But it's evil. I just want people to be cautious of what you're hearing and absorbing. I think that the science of the body and the mind are just too complex for any person to say, I know all about it, okay? I am God, or I am the creator of whoever created us, or I am just the higher purpose being of who created us, or I am the higher, you know, I'm more superior than you guys, and so I know it all. Nobody knows it all. And it's always been said, a genius will never say, I know it all. Yep, I know it all. They will never say that, because a genius knows we don't know anything about this world. We don't know anything. Okay? We don't know anything. We are slowly learning. Yeah, sure, we know some, but we're never going to know everything. And so I think that let's just give the sciences the credit they deserve, and also treat it with a little bit of, you know, it's a bit like how autism's been represented. It's like, why are people getting famous for being autistic? I don't agree with it. Why are people able to, you know, educate just because they're autistic on autistics? You can be an advocate, but I don't think it means that you can say like everything about it. I think that that's taking away from the merit of people who study it, which includes talking to autistic people in their studies, as in the studies they read, or the experience that they have to get to then go and work, you know, like work experience. With most things, like I said to you before, with things that you do at TAFE or university, you have to do work experience for free to learn how to work with these people. If you've met one autistic, you've only met one autistic. We have our own personalities as well. So it is not okay for someone, just because they're autistic, to say, I can speak for all autistics. Don't be that person. It's just, sadly, I'm seeing it happen more and more all the time, and I don't agree. I don't agree. So don't look at me and go, well, I thought I was autistic, but I don't act like her, so maybe I'm not. I'm one autistic, okay? Keep it in perspective. There might be similarities, absolutely, because there is similarities between all of us. But you've got to leave room for differences, because there is. Neurotypicals that have differences as well. So, back to 22q. So 22q is the reason why I have autism, ADHD. It's the reason why I have a heart problem. It is the reason why I have immune system problems. It is the reason why I have Ehlers-Danlos, which is a collagen problem. I lack collagen. It is the reason why I look, and it runs like my mum, my nana, myself. They most likely have Ehlers-Danlos, but they need to be tested. However, my nana does have it because she was a contortionist, a dance teacher. She would have it. But I do think my mum does, because she had the same nice skin. She has beautiful skin. So we all three of us look 20 years younger than what we are. And we've always had that said to us over and over again, to the point where it's annoying. And it's the Ehlers-Danlos. It's the velvet skin that you get with Ehlers-Danlos. So basically, I have a lot of physical problems, neurodivergent problems, and also fear and anxiety that come with 22q. Now, it is a genetic chromosomal syndrome, meaning I am born with my 22nd arm. We have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and on my 22nd arm, I'm missing the top piece. It's gone. It didn't form. It didn't happen in vitro, okay? And it is genetic, meaning it is passed down families. So I can, because I have it, my kids have 50% chance of having it, and my grandchildren 10% chance of having it. So it comes down the line. Now, remembering too, in genetics there's throwbacks. So there's always that throwback factor. You can have things show up that have skipped 1 or 2 generations. So genetics is fascinating but very complex. But I learned a lot, luckily, at university. So I did have a good understanding of genetics before walking into it. But basically, with my genetic counselling I did, I was told that I most likely would have been autistic without 22q, which I thought was interesting, because it was red. It was like boom, boom, boom on one side of my family, and the other side of my family was Asperger's in the amber. So quite strong. So basically, I got late diagnosed. I was 48, just about 49, when I got diagnosed. So basically, it was a shock. But in other ways, it wasn't a shock, because we always knew, and I always said to Sir, I have a rare something, because I am so sick and they keep acting like I'm not. You've just got chronic illness. You've just got ME/CFS. You've got now Ehlers-Danlos, now autism, ADHD. Everything was just stacking up. Fibromyalgia comes with Ehlers-Danlos, because, you know, when your joints can't hold themselves in place, and I hate it when they slip out, and the older you get, the more they do that. You feel it slip in and out. The muscles then have to react. So you get sore muscles. There's just so much pain that comes with Ehlers-Danlos. It's actually one of the most painful conditions. I have a high palate because of 22q. So the feeding problems as a baby, my mum said for 6 months I screamed with colic because I would have been sucking in air because of having a high palate. So, you know, I want to share this because if anyone is out there that I can help get diagnosed, the younger, the better, the more interventions, the better, because I feel like 48 is a little bit too late diagnosed in Australia, but Australia is not very good health system. I repeat, and I can vouch for this. You cannot, if you're saying it's great. If you're saying it's great, it means you have not had much to do with the medical system, or you have a stock standard, what they used to, the cancers, the very typical multiple sclerosis, cystic fibrosis, what else is there? Muscular dystrophy, okay? Those conditions are known. Sadly, when you're rare, no one in WA, Western Australia, where I live, no. So therefore, I don't have a specialist. And the WA health system seems to think that's acceptable as a late diagnosed 22q person. Well, I disagree, and so does my disability people that are supporting me. So anyway, my disability lawyer is working on trying to change that for me and get me better care. And that's what I deserve, because Children's Hospital here in Perth has 2 specialists, but they refuse to see me. And that's because of Medicare reasons. Medicare in Australia is basically our free healthcare through our taxes. So it's not really free, it's through our taxes, okay? So basically, I've not always been on the system. I've only been on the system for 5 years, and I hate it already because we used to be very independent, 100% with no involvement of Social Security at all. And I really liked it that way. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm too sick for Sir to work, and I chose family first for care. So basically, there is no 22q specialist for adults in WA, and they're working on it in the next 5 to 10 years. I don't have that time because at this point, the way my heart is, I will be lucky to get through my 50s. Lucky. And that's probably the hardest part about my diagnosis, is that I don't feel like nothing can make up for it. I should have known a long time ago, guys, because I have been seeking medical care 1,000 times more than an average person, and I shouldn't be in this position, but I am. And I mean, I'm talking since a kid. I have been in medical care more than an average kid. So it's been a really hard life for me medically. It's been a really hard life for me with anxiety. But I've mastered it. And that's why, since YouTube's met me, you've seen me with, you know, the boss of anxiety, okay? But that takes time. So don't beat yourself up if you're way younger than me and you struggle with anxiety, because it's not fair to do that, because it is something that you have to learn to live with, and that can only happen with time and with having the time to work on it, you know, within yourself. So it's tough. And as a child, wow, my anxiety was through the roof. It was really intense. I was scared of my own shadow, okay? My mum would constantly have to console me, and that wasn't always good, because the older I got, the less tolerant she got, sadly. She was very tough on me, and not a good mix for a 22q child, because a 22q child has anxiety and fear built in, meaning it is not this, it's not social anxiety. I mean, maybe as a kid, yeah, like primary school, sure. Bit of high school, sure, maybe, but not so much as an adult, really. It's just anxiety in general, like generalized anxiety disorder, you could call it. Really tough to deal with as a child. And especially in my era, there was no such thing as discussions on anxiety. It was just suck it up, buttercup, grow up, deal with it, and that was that. So I didn't get enough support. I slept with the light on for most of, pretty much whole of primary school. And then a night light in high school. Still have a night light as an adult. Yeah, what else affects me now with anxiety? I guess just strange environments. That could be autism. Strange people that I get that vibe from in my belly. I'm very much an autistic who's socially stupid but intuitively smart. I can like get that feeling in my gut from a person, and I'm grateful for that. I know when someone's a good person or a bad person. I've had people say that person is bad, that person's bad, and I've met them myself and I've gone, didn't feel it, so no. So, you know, I feel what people are. I mean, I always judge people for themselves anyway. I don't listen to gossip, I don't listen to other people, but I'm just saying, I go with what I feel, and if I don't feel it, I don't feel it. But that's not to say that I can be wrong if I don't get to know a person enough. Hence why I have a lot of rules for myself with autism. I would never be alone, say, with particularly a male, if I didn't know them very well, and trust them at the same time. So there is rules I have for my autism because of my social blindness of things. I have gaps of things I don't understand and then things that I do understand. But the hardest thing with my 22q is accepting that we die predominantly in our 50s and from cardiac. That's the bit I don't like. Now, I don't wake up every day and go, oh, I'm going to die any day soon or any year soon. I don't have that mentality. It is not a daily sort of thought pattern. It is not a weekly thought pattern. It is not how I operate. However, I'm just telling you the stats because, like my disability advocate said, the facts are the facts. And when you're dealing with certain situations, you have to deal with the facts. And the facts are, the stats are in. I am more likely to die in my 50s than I am to not. So it just is what it is. And I think that knowing is always better than not knowing, because preparation is key for anything in life. I want to know. I've got 2 children. I've got 2 sons. I've got 2 grandsons. And I need to know. I need to know my fate. And I've always had faith. So I know that God has a plan. I know that things happen for a reason. And if God takes me whenever he takes me, that it's just meant to be. But the worst part of it all is not me, is who I leave behind. And that's why I work so hard. Because I want to leave a lot behind. I wish I could leave an empire, especially for my grandsons. And I hope to God that none of my family have to suffer the fate that I am. It's genetic and it sucks. I wasn't aware when I was having my children, which is another sad thing about this whole late diagnosis. I wasn't informed. So when I made my decision to have children, I was not informed. So that's a problem. That's why, things should have been looked into, because I was very sick at 17. I could have died. And things should have been looked into then. But anyway, it is what it is now. But just looking at my 22q journey, I think that the sad thing is there's so many rare syndromes, genetic syndromes, that it's so hard to get awareness. Some are similar, some are not, some are completely different. But what I contribute to 22q, because it doesn't seem to be an autism thing. I thought it was originally, but it doesn't seem to be, from just what I'm noticing, except for I do think we have like superpowers. I do think that we have like, with our special interests, we can develop quite savant-like abilities, which I think is really cool. But my 22q to me has, I'm a very chirpy, happy person. And despite the anxiety, even though I can have an absolute anxiety, I wouldn't say it's a panic attack, but an overwhelming anxiety thing of just tears and tears and tears of something that's making me anxious, and I have to talk it through, and then it just goes away. And I could be laughing again 10 minutes later. And I put that down to not just resilience of, I do believe when you are a disabled child, and autism even is a disability, I believe we do develop a resilience. I think that just naturally happens as we progress with every experience we have, including negative experiences like bullying at school or whatever else. It develops a resilience, not in the moment, but later on. And I also think that 22q has given me this positivity. And it's a blessing because I've always been described as that, and really to the point where the narcissists that I've worked with in the past have been like, stop being so chirpy. I hate you because you're always so happy. And it's like, of course you hate that. You're a narcissist. You kind of work with the devil a little bit, you know, like, you know, you don't like happiness. You don't like drinking from the same cup. But I like my happiness. So leave my happy bubble and get out of here. But yes, the best way to remedy them is to smile more at them and just tell more jokes. They won't laugh, but you know, that's what happens. But that's a blessing out of 22q. But I had eczema growing up, so immune system problems, food allergies as a young child, immune system problems, 22q. Very typical for 22q. My allergy list is long. 22q. So all these things are because of the you know, genes that I'm missing. You can't replace those genes. Not yet anyway. Science is trying to, but yeah, you can't replace those genes at this point. But this is the battle that I face. The seizures are genetic seizures. If you're in Australia, check out Getter. I'm not on Facebook, but Getter is on Facebook. If you have genetic seizures, please give their data to them, because I think that is so essential for. Look, I know I'm everywhere. I'm in the UK being researched, Murdoch University near me being researched, Queensland University, not Queensland University, but a university in Queensland, I think, and Getter. So we can't help us maybe, but think of your future family. You've got a genetic syndrome, or if you're watching this and you know someone who's got a genetic syndrome, so it's not you that has it, or it's a family member, or it's someone you know, whatever, you're helping the future family, right? Just think of it that way. You're helping others, and that's important, because if we can't help ourselves, well, the least we can do is, like, we've suffered, why keep that going? And like I said, we don't get as much research attention for funding. We just don't. And I'm on the abortion list, so they don't really want us at all, which I think is disgusting. Because I know if I was pregnant with a baby and they said, look, I recommend this, I'd say no. I don't care. God gave me this child. And whatever challenges this child has is my challenges too. Because I'm the parent. And when you choose to be a parent, you choose all of it. So, and with 22q, you should always have guardianship from 18. 22qers need protection. We have a lot of vulnerabilities. We are considered a vulnerable species, a protected species. Okay, so if you have a 22q child, protect them at all ages, childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, and even older. Protect them. Be their guardian. Be their rock. Be their person. Because trust me, there's one thing that is special about 22q is the bonds that we form with our people. So at first it's our parents, and then it might stay that way, or then it might go to a partner. That is everything to us. They are our people. They're our special people. We need those special people. So it is recommended that you have a guardian before they turn 18. So that's a good tip. Okay, so take that on. Now, if you're in Australia or New Zealand, there is an association called the 22q Australia and New Zealand Association. So definitely check them out. Pretty sure that they'll be on Facebook. I think they have a website. It's 22q Australia New Zealand.org, probably something like that. So look that up, that combination, you'll find it. Check them out, especially if you've got children. Contact them, ask them questions, sign up, subscribe to them. I think that they are doing their best to, support this situation for children and adults. And you get some pretty cool stickers. I got a sticker anyway. That was pretty cool. I love my sticker. And yeah, I just want to support them because I think that anyone trying to help us is just, especially when it's an organization, meaning not corporate, is always appreciated. Because I'm sure most of them are probably mums of kids, children or adults with 22q. So, naturally they're probably all carers and are dedicating their time to help new parents with 22q children, or if you're like me, late diagnosed people. So check them out, say hi to them. Not that I know them very well, but I know them to be very kind, helpful, and I think they're useful. So if you have any questions, if you are a 22qer, if I can answer it, I will. If you have a child diagnosed with 22q, feel free to ask me questions. I will definitely try and answer to my best ability. And because I'm 50 and I've been through every phase of it, always feel free to ask questions of different age groups, because hopefully I can make your child's life so much better with this condition, and yourself, to help that child, because a good parent with knowledge of it can help their child so much more, and then you can become the expert, which I think is invaluable for that child, your child. And trust me, when I was a kid, you need that. You need your parents to really understand you, because naturally the child's growing with the same confusion of growing, and on top of that they've got 22q to contend with. So your child is a tough cookie, a very tough cookie, because your child is facing fear and anxiety every day, uncertainty in their environment at school, and bullying happens to most of us. It is such a challenging world for any kid, but a kid with 22q, please just remind your child of how strong they already are, just by getting up every day and facing it. And when they can't, I know that I had many year groups that I had major school aversion and would not go to school. So have grace for your child when they have moments when they can't cope. Always encourage, always give them little challenges, but support them through those challenges. Don't throw them in the deep end, but just understand when they can't, and give them that grace. But just please just say that, I don't know, there's some old lady on the internet that just gets you, and you rock because you get up every day and you face this big bad world with so much to contend with just growing up, let alone having 22q, and you're rocking it. Because if they get through the school day and they come home and they've had like pretty much a day where even if they've had a few bumps, they've got through, shake their hand, high five them actually, fist pump them. That's the latest thing. That's better. We don't do the shaking hands thing. We're autistic. I hate it. But anyway, high five, fist pump. Just remind that child of how brave they are, because they're braver than... Ooh, take my sleeping tablets. I've really stayed up tonight. Okay. Your child is brave, because if they are getting by, trust me, a 22qer, I know this. It's tough. It's really, really tough. And when they get home and cry, they're going through it. It is not just a child going, oh, it's just too hard, I want to cop out of it. No, they're really, really struggling. So encourage them, give them that extra TLC, give them that extra support. And the best way of supporting them is just keeping those lines of communication open about 22q. Because the growing up stuff, they'll experience that along with their peers and their siblings and their cousins and their whatever. That's easy for anyone to relate to. So if you're a parent that doesn't have 22q, you can relate to that. But the 22q stuff, be knowledgeable on that, because they're going to need you for that until they're old enough to do that for themselves, which I would encourage when they're, of course, a lot older, to do their own research on 22q so that they can understand themselves, understand their struggles, their battle physically and with possibly their neurodivergence, because, yeah, it's tough. It's tough at all age groups for many different reasons. And if your child's been bullied, just know that sadly this happens to special needs kids, and protect them as much as you can. Make sure you talk to the teachers and don't tolerate the school letting it happen. And yeah, just boost your child. And if you're a good parent, you'll know how. Give them compliments. Remind them of what they're good at. Tell them that they're allowed to fail and it's okay. Tell them that if people are being nasty, that it says more about them than it does about your child. That people that bully are the ones that are the saddest people. And would you want to be like that? Mm-mm. Who wants to be sad or jealous or whatever else it may be, right? No. So make sure your child understands that a bully, a personality that can do bullying, they got a lot of issues. And there's many ways of different age groups you can explain that to them. But anyway, I wish you and your child luck, whether your child's a child, a teenager, an adult of any age, 22q to a 22q family or a 22qer. I love you all, and yeah, I'm sorry that we're rare and that rare doesn't get the acknowledgement like cancer or anything else. It's sad. It's hurtful, to be honest, because everybody deserves health care. Everybody deserves care and understanding and room for whatever they're dealing with when it's not in their control. When you're missing chromosomes, it's not in your control. Genes, isn't it? Missing genes. It is not within our control what we have to contend with. So, and just know that disability discrimination is a criminal offence. So mocking autism, mocking ADHD, mocking special needs of any kind, any syndrome, anything is a criminal offence. So, guys, don't let you and your family get harmed by this if it gets to that point where the harm is being done, because people with special needs, either in their family or the individual themselves suffering it, they do not need discrimination, bullying on top of that. So I send you all lots of love. And if you've just been diagnosed or you've just had a child diagnosed, I'm sending huge hugs. There's a lot of grief, a lot of stress, a lot of confusion, a lot of guilt, a lot of uncomfortable feelings. I've got 22q myself, so I've had my experience, and then of course I've got kids and grandkids, so I've had also the guilt experience. So I've had it all. So anyway, feel free to ask me any questions. And like I said, anything that I'm knowledgeable on, which I pretty much am quite well versed on this now, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to answer you. So feel free. So I'll catch you later in the next video. And thanks for listening to my catch up on 22q. And please just, I don't know, spread the word of 22q, otherwise known as DeGeorge, but that's the old name. And let's just see if we can get more awareness at least. It's better than nothing. So, any rare syndrome, God bless you all. I love you all because you're battling hard, because rare gets left out. Till next time.